Hello YouTube, welcome back to episode 3 of our Factorio tutorial series. In this episode we're going to be working on military science, getting radar up and running, and getting some defenses up and running. First things first, we are going to get our military science ready so we can throw it in the labs and we can start progressing. So in order to get military science, right now we are missing everything. We don't have walls, we don't have grenades, and we don't have piercing rounds. I have most of the raw resources for everything except for walls. We don't have any stone being mined out right now, so we are going to go quickly mine out quickly. We're going to go mine out some stone. Quickly, slowly. Doesn't matter. We're going to mine it. It's going to be ours. So we have a deposit right here, and we're just going to quickly set this guy up. I'm not sure how many drills we really want here. And we'll connect this to our other power grid. Something like that. Looks okay. And now we're mining stone. So in order to make stone walls, you need stone bricks. And stone bricks are stone smelted in a furnace. So we have the stone right here. We're going to put a splitter because eventually we'll need stone as well for railroad tracks, which is needed for production science pack, if I'm not mistaken. So we will do this. I'm actually going to push the splitter over one more. Do that. This is going to be our through for our railroad tracks eventually, and this will be for our stone walls. It should only be on one side again. So we're going to try and keep things a little bit consistent. Try and use the same style over and over at least. It's a lot easier for when you expand your factory, having things set up in the somewhat similar fashion. So we do the exact same thing we did last time. Throw our power lines there, and then we have our output here. I'm actually wanting this to go towards our main bus because we do need this for science. So we'll run it this way. Good there. And then we throw another splitter on here. I'm not too worried about setting this as an output priority because I know that the stone setup here is not going to use a ton of resources. So don't go getting in trouble. Let's go set this up like that. Beautiful. Chop these trees down. I told you these trees would be in the way. That's one reason why I don't like to play a super heavily forested map. It kind of reduces the biters. The biters don't attack you every 2 seconds, but chopping trees down kind of slows you down. So there we go. Good there. Gonna have to grab some more belts as well. And we need power connection as well. So that's now hooked up there. And then they have the coal coming as well. Gonna grab some more belts and run this line in. So this line is going to be coming from over here. We're not 100% sure where it's going to be, where it's going to hit into our main setup here. So actually backtrack it. I built it backwards. So we will set this up like that. And this will be our stone wall, or our stone brick line here. Stone brick. So that's simple. And then it's right there. And the trees are in the way again. You could spaghetti around it if you wanted to, but we'll try and keep things super clean for this playthrough. That goes there. This goes there. A couple more undergrounds. You can tell on the bottom hotkey bar there that we don't have any undergrounds or splitters in our inventory. There's something that's nice about that. Having things in the hotbar. I might not use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to grab the item in the bottom, but you can at least see what's there and what isn't there. Okay, so now I got stone brick. Beautiful. We're going to need a couple of assemblers. We're going to make some stone walls. Grab some of this. We're also going to need bullets, and we're going to need steel as well. One thing I do suggest once you get your steel up and running is first off have it on both sides of the line. Do that. And if you're not using your steel at the very beginning, chest it. Just accumulate your steel because You need so much steel later on, and I guarantee that you will not be producing enough steel. Almost always need more steel. So just chest it. You can put a chest in front of the line or behind the line or whatever. It's just going to make your life a lot easier if you actually have a storage for it, so you can actually start hoarding it. I'd say hoarding. You're accumulating a lot of it, letting it stockpile on you. So let that do that. While that's doing that, we're going to grab some of these guys as well. And as I said, we're not going to have enough stone, which I 100% guarantee we won't have enough stone. I'm going to grab these, and we're going to make some steel furnaces. I'm going to grab all of our stone bricks that we're making. And we're going to upgrade our steel production into steel furnaces. They're going to be the most slowest. They're going to be the slowest setup. You always just need so much steel. And even our little setup we have right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 smelters. It doesn't produce nearly enough. If we go production screen by pressing P, you can look at the over 1 minute. Over 5 seconds, kind of hard to check what's going on. But over 1 minute, we make 38 bars, 40 bars a minute. That's not a lot. So we can do this, and we can double it. So remember, it is a 1-to-1 ratio. So you do need them on both sides. You need this one and this one to work as well. Now, once you start modulating it, it kind of changes everything. But we'll get to modules and beacons and all that later on. But as it currently stands, this works nicely. So now our production of these should double. It should go to 80 a minute. Yeah, you're seeing it run up to 80 minutes. That's why I like to look at the 1 minute screen. It's a lot easier to see the numbers aren't spazzing out on you. Okay, so that's working. Everything's beautiful there. Gonna make some more long arm inserters because I know I don't have enough of those. This is a decent time as well to start making items that you need. So I kind of like to fit some of these items just wherever they kind of fit. I don't put them particularly in the neatest spots ever. This is where the base starts to get really messy. So we have this guy coming here. And it's going to be making long arm inserters, which I know I need. I need them for personal use. So it's not for science, so I don't want to put on the main bus line. It's just personal consumption. So I'll put a little chest like that. Easy. Making some. All I need. Grab some more of those. Grab some fast ones. We don't want any filter inserters. I don't use them very often. You can, and we'll talk about those probably in another episode, but for now, just know that we use fast inserters, long inserters, and normal inserters. You can use burner as well too, but meh. Now that we're going to start making some outposts as well, we're going to want to get better power lines. You can run the normal power line, but this guy has a really long reach. So if you look at this power line here, the reach of it is 7.5. So what does that actually mean? If you place a power line here and the next one, you see that the tile reach is not very long. But if we get the big power lines here, it's 30. It's going to go from like here to there, which is 2 power lines. This requires steel. It's a bit more advanced, but it's just really nice to have, especially when we're going to start putting our defenses around the base. It's nice to not have 1,000 power lines everywhere. You can. Doesn't hurt, but doesn't hurt also to be nice. Doesn't hurt to be nice. Okay, so now I got the stone here as well. We'll run the stone over. And because we're playing on a bus-style base, all our science stuff is going to be on the bottom, and all our other items building for science will be at the top. So this will be military science here. And the items we're making to make the military science will be up top. So this will be stone walls. Item number 1 for military science. Right there, right there, right there. And then offloading. Do we need this many buildings? I'm not sure. But it's easier to build more buildings and have insufficient resources than to try and add them in later. This is very easily expandable as well, because if we want to expand to it, we just build up. Build everything up. So down for science and up for items. Easy. We can also use these walls for our defenses, which will come in quite handy later. This just doesn't quite line up. We could kind of rejig things, but we'll leave it like this for now. Put you as military science. Grab that. Put some more assemblers. Can never have too many assemblers. You always need them, so if you handcraft a lot of them, it's not going to hurt you. They're also used to build the other assembler machine, the tier 2. So we have phase 1 of our science set up already. Now we just need grenades and piercing ammunition. Piercing ammunition is actually really expensive. Piercing ammunition requires normal ammunition, copper, and steel. So this is where your first big copper sink comes in other than green circuits. Green circuits aren't really going to use a ton of your resources at the beginning because you don't use a lot of them. Later on, there'll be a big resource sink for you as well, but you'll find that making ammo like this, if you're actually using it at a somewhat reasonable rate, will deplete your resources very quickly. Even just this ammo here. It takes 4 to make 1 bullet. And if you're playing a very big defensive game, you're going to be eating a lot of ammo. So we have 3 buildings here, and again, we want to populate both sides of the belt. So we're going to do output priority and force the bottom 3 buildings to push on the inside, and the rest of the buildings will push on the outside. Easy. Easy. Okay, now we're making ammo. And we have copper as well. And now we just need that steel line. And we just kind of passed by a power line and we noticed that the power was right on the edge. We're right on the edge of keeping up. So we can pretty quickly throw some more power down. And remember the ratio for this as well. It's still 1 water pump, which is over there, to 20 boilers to 40 steam engines. So we can add quite a bit to that setup right now. No problemo. Now we actually want to run the steel somehow into our main bus line. We could go up this way, I think. Might actually be the easiest way. So have the line go here. And like that. So do this beautiful chest action here. I'm going to pick this up. We're going to reroute this line. Turn him around. Put something like that. So now we have the steel coming in. And it's still not a huge mess. It's on the edge of a mess. But not horrible yet. We're thinking about it being a mess. So now we have steel for our piercing ammunition. And we'll talk about bullets in a second too, the differences between the different types of ammo. Okay, electrical energy is done, and we're just going to research our bullets because we are going to get ready for setting up some defenses, so having better ammo, which you can see the effects, bolt damage plus 10%, gun turret damage 10%, and shotgun shell damage 10%. And this is going to make it, this one here shoots faster, 10% faster. And they are stacking. So as you get the next one on top of it, you get another 10% or 20% on top of that, and it goes infinite, for damage anyways. You can infinitely upgrade that one. So gun bullet damage actually can be quite lethal at the end game. Now we're going to do a setup you've not quite seen me build yet. So we have 3 things we want to grab off this line here. We have steel, normal ammunition, and copper. And you're like, how are you going to set that up? That's not going to reach. I'm going to show you another build design. So we have the direct insertion design. We have the long arm inserter design. We have the double items on one line. And now we're going to show you the triple belts. This actually is a really neat design. I like to use this for my labs, actually. So you have your lab set up here, and then you have your other lab behind it, and you can pull all the way in. So you can have all your sciences right up the front here. So right off the bat, you notice that I can't grab from this line here. There's no way I can put an inserter and grab from this line. So what we do is we place our first ones here as a group. We place an underground belt here. Like that. And we place this inserter to grab on the front and this inserter to grab on the back side. Like that. Aha. So now we're actually grabbing 3 lines in a row like that. It's a nice design. It's pretty clean. Works well. And there you go. You see them all working. You go there. You go there. It's a little heavy on power lines with just the basic power lines. There's just ways you could kind of manipulate it and change that, but there you go. So now we're pulling from 3 lines on one side. Very easy setup. 2 seconds. Maybe 10 seconds. And then we have this resource here, which is our next needed for our military science. We'll do like that. I was just thinking how I wanted it. I don't want to push too much into the buses territory right now. Something like that. And we do have our labs over here, so we're going to offload this way. Go like that. And the last thing we need is grenades. Grenades are iron plates and coal. It's a really coal heavy and slow recipe to build. They do not build quickly. And they're very coal heavy. I'm going to place these 2 guys right there. One more. And then we've kind of filled up our block here. A shipwreck is in the way. So we're going to actually grab the coal line here. Let's actually run it right straight through. I changed my mind. We don't want to build on top of our green chip setup. We're going to have to expand that at some point. But on top of the inserter is not the end of the world. The inserters don't, you don't need a ton of them. Green science produces quite quickly. Now we have this here. And same for red science. We are building on top of our walls as well, which really hurts. Expansion. You're going to try and expand your base. Building on top of stuff like that makes it a little more difficult. But I didn't intentionally build on top of the walls. Building on top of the walls was strategic, I guess you could say. So we know that the walls go in for military science. So we can kind of piggyback off the line. We know it inserts onto the top side. So now we'll make it drop onto the inside. Be smarter than the game. Put our inserters there. You there, you there. Must be smarter than the game. Something like that. Got our power lines. And now we are making grenades. So we're making our ammo. We're making our grenades. And we're making walls as well. Walls is an item I might actually want to accumulate a bunch for our defenses. So we'll do maybe, I think it stacks, I don't remember how much it stacks. It stacks 100. Maybe 300 walls. It's quite a bit of walls. We're going to make some turrets here as well. I'm not going to automate turrets because I don't need that many. I need a lot, but I don't need that many. I need probably, I don't know, 50 turrets. And we need 9 radars. And we're going to talk about radar in just a moment here. So right now we have our military science. Should be producing in just a moment here. Once our first grenades come down, we should have military science producing. So we want to get right through here. We can easily remove that building instead of making the belt go 700 kilometers up and down and left, right. And if we want to add another building, if we didn't make enough green, just put it right below there. 2 seconds to add that back on. I'm going to push this over here. And I'm not super happy with my lab setup anymore. My lab setup isn't quite working out as desired. So you can do this. If for some reason you couldn't remember your blueprint, put it down there, save it, remove all this. This is nice again for really complicated things. Or if you have bots, you can place it down like that. So now we know exactly how the other one was set up. And we can copy it. I can just ghost on top of it as well. Makes things a bit faster. And we need these long guys too. And there we go. Beautiful. We can go back onto a lab and control left click and dump all our current science that we picked up because we picked those labs up. Now we're going to talk about a filter inserter. So right here, we're picking up grenades and walls. And I do not want grenades in this chest. I just want walls. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap this inserter for a filter inserter. Filter inserter is the same as a splitter, as you can select certain items that will only get picked up by it. So we're only going to pick up walls. So he will not pick up grenades anymore, this inserter. You can make it pick up multiple things. You can also have a blacklist as well. So it can actually be the exact opposite. Pick up everything except for walls if it's on a blacklist. But instead we want just walls. Like that. Beautiful. And we got our ammo here. Our excess ammo we will chest as well. After the military science gets what it wants. And we'll go to 100, 2, 3, 4, 5, 500. That's a lot. It'll take a long time for that to fill up like that. And military science is now teching. Beautiful. So now we have our 3 sciences up and running. We got a couple gun turrets in our inventory. We haven't got attacked by biters yet. And we have no radar coverage. So we can't actually see what the biters are up to. What the quote-unquote bad guys are doing right now. Looks like all our resources are okay. Copper is, as I said, the ammo is just depleting the copper reserves quite horrendously. So we might add, what we'll do these two, get some more damage onto our guns. We might have to add our copper smeltery a little bit, expand to that. Pretty easy. You can tell right here, we just don't have enough raw copper being smelted because these smelters are working, these first 6, but the back 2 aren't working. So not quite enough mining drills. Very easy remedy. We'll grab a few more, and then we'll upgrade these to steel as well. The steel will double the speed. Iron is keeping up right now, but the steel or the copper is not. Now, once we add this and start pulling the copper faster, we'll start using the steel faster as well. Steel and iron. You fix one thing and you break another. Welcome to Factorio. Need some stone. With a couple more furnaces. So we have 10 building right now. 10's probably enough. It's a good amount. So right now we only had 8 there already, and we're going to double it up, plus adding more resources, so it'll be about 16. It'll be acting at 16 anyways. So you didn't have to upgrade to steel furnaces either. You could just add more furnaces. But we didn't give ourselves a lot of space, so we'll just upgrade them instead. So we got that there, and then we got the steel furnaces, and you can just place them right on top of it. You don't have to rip them out and redo it. You can just right on top. And we can tell the inserter is working fast enough. It's mostly working. And we should be getting significantly more resources here now. Beautiful. Grab those out. And we'll make a few more turrets. Right now we have 12 turrets. We're going to go over some basic defensive strategies. Make some power lines as well. Some big power lines. Then we're going to go run around the base and do some defense. Talk about biters for a minute or 4. So science is going. One thing you can tell with my labs, though, right now is I don't have enough labs. So we have all the science sitting here, not doing anything. We could be using that and teching faster. So instead of having it just idle like that, we'll build some more labs. So we need 9 more labs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. We don't want to make all these green chips. And for some reason, I turned that belt. Press R on that belt and re-rotated it. Must have been when I was walking by I did that. We don't want that. Okay. So first things first is you do want a radar on your main base. Radars consume a lot of electricity, but having a radar will let you remotely look at your base. So if you're away from your base, having this radar here will let you see your base. So if you look at the mini-map, there's this like big blue square. That's the coverage that the radar is going to show you that it will cover at all times. It will scan the area around it as well. I'm not sure how many blocks. You can see there's like blocks here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's like 6 blocks in the section. I'm not sure how far out it goes for the scanning. But this area here will always be remotely able to look at it now as long as we have power. So if I'm standing over here, I can still zoom my camera on map mode and look over here, which is super handy later on. So once you start getting far away from your base, you can always see your base. What we're going to do is we're going to add some coverage around the base first. So we've got some power lines because we need power out. Click and hold. And we can run this power line down. And we're going to try and grab the areas of the base where we have no coverage. So again, you see the blue square in the minimap. Depending on where you place it is what you can see. So we don't necessarily want them covering each other. You don't want them overlapping. You don't benefit anything from that. So we're looking on the minimap where we want to place this. I'm not looking on the actual screen where you see the radar. I'm looking at the minimap there. So you see it's covering. Is it overlapping arcs there, I guess you could say. Here, it doesn't. So we want the radar right there. Don't have power, so we'll fix that. Now, biters will attack our radar because it's considered a military target. So biters will attack that first, and it doesn't pollute, but biters will aggress it. So these power lines out in the middle of nowhere, unless the biter gets stuck on it, it won't eat it. Because it's not a target, and it's not considered a military target either. But this radar is considered a military target. So if biters are walking in the vicinity of this, they'll eat it. So now we're standing here on the minimap. And we can actually look at our base because of that radar. But we can also look over here as well now. So we now have some coverage. We'll defend it later. We didn't bring any ammo with us. And you can see it start revealing parts of the map as well. I don't find it as needed for revealing the map, but I do find it very helpful to be able to see what's going on. So again, the next one we want to determine where it's going to be based on the overlapping fields of fire. I'm stuck in the forest here. We're clicking and holding right now still. So it's going to place it, well, I'll just place it like that. It's going to place it at the next available area. And we're going to put the radar at the maximum coverage area again. Which is right there. So we ghost placed it. We ghost placed it so we know where it's going to be. We'll have all these trees on top of it. We'll rip some trees down. Cut some trees down, rip some trees down. I don't know. You could do both. I'm not a lumberjack. Right there. And there we go. So now we have the two sides of our base kind of revealed, and we can see what's going on. So if biters start moving in our area, we can see them in our area. And then we'll place one over here again as well. We'll grab our power line because we need the power. I'm not super worried where the power lines are going because the biters shouldn't eat them. I say shouldn't, but you never know. Biters be biters. Pressing Q on top of the power line, and you just click and hold as you're running. This does work if you're driving a car or a tank or a train or a spider. You can turbo around your base and set it up. I don't have a car, that's why I'm not doing that right now. There we go, another area revealed. How many power lines I have? A few more. Just a few more. And now we see the oil underneath me on the mini-map. The pink stuff. Pink or purple? I can't even tell. These little blobs here of crude oil. Tomorrow will probably be... Or tomorrow. The next video will probably have the oil processing. So right now we're adding radar coverage everywhere on our base. If you want to be efficient with your time, you might do this in a car, or you might also set up your defense at the same time. We're going to set up some pretty flimsy defenses, because I know the biters aren't going to be super aggressive with me, and we're playing fairly quickly as well. We're going to also check the evolution here. So you can push the tilde key, or the key right above your tab there. I think it's the tilde or tilde, whatever. And type evolution. Wow. Evolution. You gotta spell it right. Type that, and it'll tell you where the biters have evolved to. So right now they're at 0.0668 evolution factor. 99% is the highest it goes. And it's actually a curve. It's an exponential curve, I guess. So if it takes you 1 hour to get to 20% evolution, it will not take you 5 hours to get to 100% pollution. There's no 100, but 99. It will take you probably 30 or 40 hours to get there because it gets more and more difficult for the biters to evolve. So they'll evolve quite quickly at the beginning, but then it will slow down drastically once it gets later on. So don't worry if they evolve quite quickly at the beginning. They're going to slow down a lot later on. Behemoths are at 85, and behemoths are the real problem. If you don't have proper defenses set up and you have behemoths running around, then good luck. But that's a ways away. So right now we're what, I don't know, an hour or something, 2 hours in our playthrough. We're not gonna have behemoths for 80 or 90 hours unless we start killing everything, which I don't plan on doing right now. Okay, so now we have quite the coverage area. We can remotely see around our base by going in the map and zooming around because of the radars. I do need one more over here too. But we're going to run back to our base for a second. Got this beautiful water, which is blocking a lot of the biters. The biters cannot traverse through the water. They can't get through here. This is an impenetrable wall. Same with right here. If you can't walk over it, neither can they. If you think you can get past it, you can't. You're going to try to run up against it. We also have these fish in the water. If you notice that or didn't notice that, you can right-click to mine them out. Mine them out? I don't know. And then you have a fish in your inventory, which is right here. Fish is used for healing your character. So if you have an injury, if you got attacked by biters, you can right-click the fish on top of yourself. Left-click, sorry. Left-click the fish on top of yourself and heal you. I think it heals like 25% or something. Very good in aggressive maps when you're trying to fight. Early game anyways. Now we got more of these. And now we're going to go back and talk about science again for a minute. So you notice that the weapon shooting speed is teching very slowly. And it's not because we don't have enough labs. It's because tech times are different. So if you push T and you look here for a second, this says it takes 1 red and 1 green science. It needs 200 of them, and it takes 30 seconds to research each one. This one takes 30 seconds as well. This one's 30. This This is 15 seconds. This is twice as fast. So it needs 100, but it also eats it. The science labs will consume science twice as fast on this because it's 15 seconds. This is 15 as well. 30, 60. So this is even slower. So if you're producing enough science to make this run at, let's say you have 10 labs and this is using them at ample time, to use them as efficiently as possible, and you have, say, 10 labs, you need 20 to use them properly here because this is half speed, so it's even slower. I think 60 seconds is the slowest anything goes. You got some 45s, you got some 30s, you got some 30s, a lot of 40s. Most things are 30s, it seems, and a couple 60s. So just know that if your lab setup seems to be going really slow, it might be because it's slower on the science consumption rate, I guess you could say. So even with our expanded setup here, we are eating all our copper still. All our copper is being eaten. And that's okay. We knew that was going to happen. So now we're going to go and make some basic defenses. My defenses aren't going to be amazing, but I'm going to show you some setups for defenses. I know the biters aren't going to be a huge threat to me right now, so I'm not super worried about them. But they might be a big threat to you. I'm just going to get rid of that. So if they are a big threat to you, is that to drop items on the ground if you for some reason want to do that. How about coal? Let's just get rid of this coal quickly. So control clicking into the buildings. And I have some of these. I'll get rid of those as well. And I want some big power lines before we head out on the road. On the road again. Here I go. Get a copyright infringement for that. Okay, so we got this going on here. And where do we think they're going to attack us first? We're going to go look at their pollution cloud. Over here, it's getting eaten by trees. So the trees actually consume pollution. So the trees are acting as a wall blocking me. So I assume they're going to attack over here first on this side. So I guess clicking the pollution there. You can see our turret coverage, which we don't have any yet. Your power line coverage. So you can see your power grid. And your logistics network, which you don't have any yet. That'll probably be in a day or two. We'll get the bots up and running and show how bots work nicely. But for now, we have no defenses, and the biters might attack us anytime in the next ever. So we are going to set up here. I'm going to run over to our radar over here, and we're going to put some turrets around them. There's 1,000 different ways to do this. And I will show you some of my more favorite ways of doing it. So we do have some bottlenecks here already. You can see these cliffs. I'm going to put this here. You can see the arc of fire as well. If this turret's right here, it's going to catch any biter that comes to get through here. And then we're going to kind of put some up top there as well. So you can do the easy way. I'm just doing that. So now we have a turret covering this area here. But that turret's kind of on its own, and it's probably going to die like that. Also, ammo loading situation's not ideal because you have to manually do it. You can't really tell how much is on it with a quick look. You got to actually hover over it to see. It says ammo 200 in the corner there. It also says a damage, all that stuff there. We'll talk about damage in a minute as well. So the first turret setup is very basic. You just dump ammo in a turret. Easy. Don't need anyone to explain that. The second setup people like to do is either belt it around from their entire base. They have an entire line coming from all the way in their base, going all the way up around their entire factory. So you have a big ring around the whole factory with ammo on it. That's okay. It takes a long time to set it up, though. So in that whole time of setting it up, you're slowing everything else down. You're not building more science. You're not teching. You're not out-smarting the biters, out-teching them. So what I like to do is something like this. We're going to place that there. We're going to grab an inserter and put you right there. Doesn't really matter what type of power lines, but go like that. And I'll put 200 for these 3 turrets. Each turret will pick up 10. I do believe it's 10. The turret will pick up 10, and it will be fully satisfied with the ammo it has. It will not keep picking up any more than 10. If it fires and uses it, it will grab more. So there, it stopped at 10. And then this guy will grab his there. This is a nice little setup because I can look remotely at this and say, oh, there's no ammo here for this area. It's a nice choke. I didn't have to run a belt from my entire factory over like that. I just look quickly like this, and it says, oh, beautiful. So I can quickly look from base over here and see that we still have ammo. How much ammo? I don't know, because I just see a belt. But I know that there's ammo. So it's not the end of the world. I don't have to babysit it. It'll do whatever it does. We were talking about lab speed a second ago. This will actually make it go faster as well. So the 30 seconds will get condensed down 20 seconds. That's another thing there. We'll get oil, though, right now. We're going to quickly progress over to oil and have that happen. Okay, so we have our basic defense now. So you have your basic turret all by itself with ammo in it. You have the belt around your entire factory defense setup. You have the independent chest setup. But there's no real actual defense for this. You can put walls around it. Like that. Walls are good because melee biters will run into it. And they're not able to access the turret. Well, they kind of can. They can go around right now. But they're not really able to access the turret. And the turret gets more time to shoot them. The wall has 250 hit points. The turret has 400. So it kind of almost doubles the life of your turret. Now, putting the wall right on top of the turret, it's not the end of the world. And you also notice I had a space between my turrets. There's spitters, biter spitters. They kind of do AoE damage. So if they hit this turret and another turret's right on top of it, they can hit both the turrets at the same time. So I always space my turrets. Next thing also to note is the big biters have a range of 1. So they can actually attack over the wall. So put your wall a little bit away from your turret. And you can wall your turrets in like this. So that's a nice little walled-in setup. Everyone's happy. Good to go. You can put gates there too, but you can just remove the wall and walk in and out. Just as easy. And this is a nice little turret setup there. Now, if you want to be even more fancy, we're going to add something called Dragon's Teeth to the front of this. It's really annoying to place this by hand, obviously. But, you're like, what does that do? What this does is affects the biter pathing. So as a biter's trying to get to the tower, because it's shooting at them, they have to walk here, and then they walk down, and then they walk over, and then they walk down, and then they walk over. So it kind of really slows their pathing down. Now I want to do a step even above that. Something like that. So now, if they want to get that turret, they got to go all the way down, and then all the way through here, and then all the way down. So it gives the turret way more time to shoot at them. Now, you can't make the mace too big, because if the biter finds no path available for, I don't know, 100 blocks or something, it won't go through the maze. It'll just go right through the wall. It'll just eat the wall. So there's no point making the maze setup like that. Once you have a really nice maze setup, you can copy it again. So you don't have to always think of it again. And then when you have bots, the bots will place it for you. You can do it like that. There you go. Beautiful. And then we'll put another couple turrets here. Like that. And now we have this belt set up here, which we think might actually be beneficial to run down to the other turrets, because it's not too far. It's not like 700 tiles long. It's fairly long, but it's not horrendously long. So now we can have our whole one side of our factory kind of defended on this one chest of ammo, I guess you could say. And look, it doesn't quite line up. Triggering people's OCD since 2020. So we'll move it. We'll make it nice and clean there. Put you there, like that. You could also have the inserter directly insert into the other turret. You can make a chain of turrets, the same as we did with the labs. If you're into that kind of thing. Let me grab that. And we can press Control V to grab our last blueprint. So instead of actually saving it or copying it again, you can just Control V it. Now you notice I placed it on top of the cliffs here. And if you just click it, it won't work. You have to hold Shift and click. And it will place it over top of items. And then we're Shift clicking to remove here. Just want to remove those. We don't want to mine the cliff out there. Or use cliff explosives. So if I look at the mini-map here, turret coverage, this side area here is covered. And we can add a little bit down there as well. As the pollution spreading quite aggressively on the side here. This would need power to work, but you get the idea. And we'll put a couple down here as well. And then we'll call that side done. So now we've kind of defended sides of our base. Put like that, just so I can see. I'll put it down just a little bit more. It looks like it might not quite catch them there. It's like right on the edge. And then we just place our belts like that. Grab a power line. And for here, we'll just do a straight wall. Nothing fancy. Can do all this fancy stuff, but sometimes at the end of the day, just getting it set up works as well. So now we have this whole side of our base set up. And you can tell that on the belt, there's not quite enough ammo. So we can give the belt a little more ammo. And all these guys should have a constant flow of ammo. The really good thing about a belt setup versus having a chest everywhere, so having each individual building with a chest, is if the chest dies... Actually use a wooden chest for this. Versus a belt. So we're going to shoot our own building here for a second. And show you some science. So this belt here has a bit of wood on it. I have a gun. I'm going to shoot this belt. And notice the item is still on the ground. So you don't lose the item. The item's just sitting on the ground. If you put the belt back, it would be there again. But if you shoot a chest, this has a chest inside the chest. We'll give it some stone. Has some stone in that. It's gone. The item's not there anymore. You can actually lose the item forever. So if you have the belt like this, and you know that it's going to be in a combat zone, quote unquote, it's almost nice to have it on a belt as opposed to having it in a chest, because if the chest dies, you lose the items in there. Another idea to play with there. So we should have a radar down here somewhere. This radar, we're going to add some turrets to him as well. We can see quite exactly where it's coverage to. Quite exactly. Sometimes I use the weirdest combination of words. That's okay though. We'll stop the science there for a second. Go there, like that. And we'll do the chest setup again here. So the chests with the ammo. We're going to grab the ammo over there. One thing we didn't talk about, though, which I said I was going to talk about, was ammo types. So there's two different ammo, actually three different bullet types. You have your basic ammunition. A firearm magazine, which does 5+1 damage. Then you have your piercing rounds, which is the ones we're using right now, which is 8 plus 1.6 damage. And then eventually there is this guy down here hiding on you, uranium ammo, which does 24 plus 4.8 damage. So you see that the added bullet damage is adding to the multiplier there as well. This guy's only getting +1 damage, so getting 1.6 damage. The reason why you really, really want piercing rounds versus normal rounds is once you start getting big biters, they actually have armor. And the armor value will deplete the bullet value. So the biter has 100 damage, but 100 health, but 5 armor. The normal ammo doesn't really do any damage to them. So once you get to large biters, normal ammo is very, very bad. It doesn't work. You need to have piercing rounds by big biters. So I like to sometimes start with it if we have the resources to do it. It's just saving you the hassle in the future. So we got the piercing rounds. Put that there. Put you there. And we have this nice setup like that. So now we have some basic defenses set up. We have radar utilized. We have military science teching, and yeah. So I think it's a decent start to our base. We're definitely getting there. This guy here, you notice the inserters struggling to grab items? It's because it's on a curve, so as it's trying to grab it, the item is getting pushed away. So one tip for that, if you see that happening, the inserter can't grab it because there's just not enough there. But yeah, so that's our basic playthrough right there. We have our basic defenses set up. We got radar coverage, and we have military science tech. So off to the next chapter of our playthrough. So here we end, and we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with some more, or next playthrough, next video, with some more oil processing. So thanks for hanging out, and until next we meet, this is Yamakara. Ciao for now.